For a Native American family, building a longhouse began with choosing the right place. The builders looked for firm ground near forests, water, and fields, where many people could live safely together. Once the place was chosen, the area had to be cleared. Brush, roots, grass, and loose stones were removed, leaving a flat space where the long wooden home could slowly take shape. The longhouse was not made for only one small family. It was designed for several related families of the same clan, living together under one roof and sharing daily work. The builders gathered young trees and strong saplings from the forest. These were easier to bend than thick old trunks, making them useful for the long, curved frame of the house. Rows of wooden posts were placed into the ground on both sides of the future building. Each post had to stand firmly because it would support the frame from end to end. Flexible poles were bent across the top, connecting one side of the house to the other. Slowly, the roof began to form a rounded shape that could shed rain and snow. Horizontal poles were tied along the sides of the frame. These strengthened the walls and helped hold the structure together, almost like the ribs of a large wooden shelter. The builders used natural cord made from plant fibers or inner bark. Every joint had to be tied tightly because the longhouse needed to survive wind, storms, and winter cold. Large sheets of bark were prepared for the walls and roof. Elm bark was especially useful because it could be removed in wide pieces and fastened over the wooden frame. The bark sheets were placed carefully across the outside of the longhouse. Each layer helped block rain, wind, and cold air, turning the open frame into a protected home. Doors were made at both ends of the building. These openings allowed people to enter from either side and helped fresh air move through the long, narrow space. Inside, the longhouse was divided into family sections. Sleeping platforms and benches were built along the walls, while upper areas were used to store food, tools, and supplies. Several families shared the same central fires. The hearths gave warmth, light, and a place for cooking, while smoke escaped through openings left in the roof above. Life inside the longhouse was built around community. Families worked, cooked, repaired tools, told stories, raised children, and prepared for difficult seasons while staying close to one another. The final work was careful and practical. Extra bark was tied down, gaps were sealed, sleeping areas were prepared, and storage spaces were arranged for food and tools. When the work was finished, the longhouse stood as more than a shelter. It became a place for family life, protection, teaching, cooking, resting, and gathering through harsh weather. At last, forest materials had become a living home. What began as saplings, bark, cord, and careful hands turned into a strong Native American longhouse, built for community and survival.